Yo, welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, this will be slightly different to my normal content once again. I don't really usually do this, but I feel like this is a good opportunity to spread awareness of this. So what I am talking about is the current Rift events that is happening. If you did not know, currently we did just get this today. It has been up for nearly 6 hours, and that is raiding rifts. What this is that during this event, rifts spawn every single hour, which is a very good thing to happen. Instead of every 3 hours, rifts are happening every hour, which means that we can get ourselves rift shards and also have a quicker grind to get to these sought after rift units. Currently it is the Yuhaba rift, which is quite difficult, but we also have the Astolfo rift that won't be active during this event. But what you can do if you are after either of these rift units, you can go ahead and grind the rifts to get this void stone, which guarantees a rift unit drop after you use it before you go into a rift. If you aren't able to beat the solo, I highly recommend going into the official Discord server of Anime Vanguards and going into the Rifts channel, because there should be people that are talking about finding teams. That way you can join someone's private server and you should be able to go in. Rifts HP does not scale with players, so having 6 players is the same difficulty as going in solo. But if you are able to beat it solo, which having at least a Monarch Kaguya, a Monarch Sun Jin Woo, a Monarch Escanor, any of these really good units, you should be pretty set to go. I was able to basically beat it solo when I first got my Gogeta Monarch, so even older units are fine because it was older content back then, should be fine. Even Dante, I'm pretty sure you can solo it with Dante, with like a Deadeye Dante, and Virgil is also pretty good. There should be many ways on YouTube that have guides to be able to beat it solo, but if you don't want to struggle with trying to beat it solo, I do recommend just going in and joining a random group on the Discord server or even in a public server and completing rifts that way every hour, because even if you can't get the MVP rewards, being able to do it every single hour means that you should rack up a bunch of rift shards very fast, and then we can go into the rift shop, buy a Val stone if you have not gotten the units from grinding up to 500 rift shards, and then guarantee that rift units. And then you'd probably want to do it again if you want to go for Astolfo. Outside of that, from the rift shards shop, you can buy trait rerolls, which is very good. 50 trait rerolls every single week is great from here, so that's another thing to do, is stock up on a bunch of rift shards so you can always buy out all of the trait rerolls before the weekly reset. And then outside of this, we do have 3 familiars that you can get. Fu is an amazing familiar. Fu is really good because it makes buffers even better. If I go ahead and go to this Fu that I have a 12.9% Fu, which means that I have it equipped onto my Subaru on placement only buffs by 10%, but now because I have Fu equipped to him, whenever he does get placed down, he's actually going to be buffing by 23% essentially, which is very strong. Then we also have Gon. I feel like Gon is a really essential familiar to have. You at least want one of them, and you want one that is good. I am kind of lacking with my Gons. My best one is 61%. The highest I think you can get is 75%. This is only through corruptions. Base Gon without corrupting, you can only get up to a total of 50%, but from there, if you can get like a 50% Gon, trying to go for a 75% Gon would be insane. And then we have for our last one, Yachuru or Pachuru. She is all right. She's not really that used anymore. She is really good on Kenpachi, but outside of that, not really anything else. The thing with her though is when you get a corruption 3 on her, her normal thing that she has is up to 30% increase to damage, but with the corruption 3, this can go all the way up to 45%. None of these other numbers change whenever you do get corruption 3 on it though, so 10% is the highest you can get for a building, and then on this, getting a 45% would be the best way to go. This is such a sad sight. I got a 5% and then I got a 0.1% off max, and I ended up getting a corruption 3, but it only increased by 4% instead of going all the way up to 45%, which quite sad, but here's that. Outside of those, I have another thing that I want to mention with rifts. Because there is a rift event going on, I have kind of speculated and was just thinking potentially there is a rift unit coming out with update 8.0. The reason why I think this is because first we have a rift event, meaning that we can grind rift shards a lot faster in preparation for 8.0, but also if we go ahead and look at the update log itself, 5 and we go ahead and see when Rifts was added. Rifts was added in 4.0. This is when Rifts got introduced with Yuhuba, and then 4 updates later, or 2 whole updates later, we ended up getting Astolfo as our second Rift unit. Now 8.0 is going to be 2 whole updates later, or 4 updates later since 6.0. So I am purely going under speculation and just assuming potentially we could be getting a new Rift unit. I feel like it's a very logical guess to think so. If I'm wrong, I am wrong. It doesn't really matter. You have Rift shards to be able to buy more rerolls. It isn't really the end of the world if I am wrong, but purely is a speculation thinking we could potentially be getting a new Rift unit. When it comes to saying that, that's pretty much all I can go off of, that we are going to get a new Rift unit. I would never in the world be able to guess what it could be, because we go ahead and look at the Rift unit for update 4.0. It was Yuhuba, who is related to the update itself being Bleach. But then we had the Guilty Gear update where Astolfo was the Rift unit, who Astolfo is a part of Fate. So we could be potentially getting a Rift unit that is related to Berserk, or we're just getting a random unrelated unit, which I wouldn't be surprised if it's another Fate unit. They just love to chuck Fate units in whenever they can. They usually do it every other update, it seems like. Although I guess they did it back to back with update 6.0 to 6.5, so could be another Fate unit, or maybe a unit related to Berserk, or just a completely unrelated anime. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm not going to try extend this to 8 minutes because I don't really need to. I just want to spread awareness of this event that is happening, and you should be capitalizing on it as soon as possible. But yeah, appreciate it if you have watched this far through the video.